Hello, my name is Kyle Wardwell, and we are going to be presenting the Case 3 study. I'm going to be presenting the background for this case. In this particular case, we had to make a decision on who Amazon would be using as their main grocery provider. The options included Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and to keep their current option, which is Amazon Fresh. These three options all have their different pros and cons for Amazon to choose them as their provider. Whole Foods is a viable option because it offers many different organic choices which will bring a variety of customers. Trader Joe's may bring a higher profit because it would not be as expensive, but it does not have as wide of a variety of groceries. The decision to do nothing is not the right direction unless we're in a recession because it would not increase the profit or bring in new customers looking for a wider variety of groceries. All three of the options need to be viewed in an in-depth analysis using decision tables, the Bayesian analysis, and decision trees to find the correct option. This will allow us to see the possible consequences, including chance event outcomes, resource cost, and utility. And that concludes my part, and I will be passing it to Colin Merkman, who is going to be explaining the decision tables.
Thank you, Kyle. So as my teammate Kyle just said, I'll be explaining the decision tables to you guys. So for this case here, we had two decision tables. I'm going to be explaining decision table one. So as you can see here, we had three different states of nature. We had a recession at a probability of 30%. We had modest growth at a probability of 30%, and we had economic boom at a probability of 40%. Looking at this decision table here, you see that during a recession at 30%, our best option, Amazon's best option would be to do nothing and continue with Amazon Fresh with an expected value of $4 billion. During modest growth, you see that the best option for Amazon would be to purchase Trader Joe's with an expected value of $12 billion. And then for economic boom, you see that the best option for Amazon would be to buy Whole Foods with an expected value of $26 billion. Down at the bottom there, you see the EMV. So the EMV again stands for expected monetary value of 12.2 billion. What that number there is it is the average of all different states of nature, the total of three different states of nature for buying Whole Foods. That would be the best option in regard to the expected monetary value. Then for the EVWPI, which is expected value with perfect information, that number there, the 15.2 billion, that number it illustrates the if all information was perfect, this would what the outcome would be for Amazon. And then for the EVPI, the 3 billion, that number there tells Amazon how much they should pay for any information in regards to their decision on whether they should purchase Whole Foods, buy Trader Joe's, or do nothing and continue with Amazon Fresh. As I explain this decision table here, I'm going to pass it off to my teammate Stephen Tremblay, who will be discussing the next step of our case here. Stephen?
Hi, my name is Stephen Tremblay. I'll be discussing the important results of the second part of the case. Within this part, the state of nature has changed a little bit. In the case of the modest economic growth has now been added into the non-recession, as now we have a 70% chance of a non-recession, while the recession chance was still staying at 30. There are two probabilities of either recession and non-recession, and four different outcomes that we can look at due to the actions that the company can continue to do. As also stated now in part two, Trader Joe's has been eliminated from the buying prospect, leaving us only to stay with Amazon Fresh or to buy Whole Foods. The benefit for the recession, the only one that we can find is not to buy, as if we do not buy, we receive $4 billion in revenues. However, if we are buying in the middle of a recession, there obviously will be a loss of $2 billion. However, this recession will only have a 30% chance of happening. In comparison to our second result that can happen of a non-recession, in the case of buying, the benefit for that, as stated here, is $12.8 billion. However, on the flip side, it's still not a actual negative loss if we do not buy, but we do not gain as much revenue if we were to buy in a non-recession, as we only gain $5.8 billion. which there is a 70% chance of a non-recession happening. Therefore, seeing as this would probably be the best state to go. I'm now going to hand off the mic to our other partner, Sean Harden.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. In this discussion, actually, I'm going to be going over the thoughts and conclusions of kind of case 3 and what we wrapped up to our assumptions. I'll be talking about the prior probabilities kind of between the recession and the not recession forecast. As you can see, I illustrated here a little graph that kind of breaks it down for people who can look at it and read it instead of just viewing numbers, where you can see there's a significant difference between the recession forecast and the not recession forecast. You can see labeled at the top in the light blue is recession, and in the dark blue it's not recession, which kind of gives you a good idea of how a majority of these can be really impacted by kind of how the numbers come out to be. If you are to go to the next slide, you will see the posterior probabilities, which I have labeled both positive and negative because there's 2 different outcomes. So if you look under recession for positive, you'll see 0.736, and under not recession, you'll see 0.264. Under recession for negative, you'll see 0.143, and under not recession, you will see 0.857 for both negative. These are basically adjusted because they're based off of the initial probability state of nature. Between positive and negative, you're going to be able to get different outcomes. So that actually kind of concludes our case 3 PowerPoint.